Hello, welcome to our midweek business news report. It's now time to bring you a feature on the show today. We're looking at the current market. Now, at the start of the week, the value of the naira continued on its downward spiral at all ends of the market as it closed last week, as well, losing about 10 naira to sell at 495 naira to the dollar on the parallel market. Now, that's a situation analysts say is expected to continue this week. It had begun depreciating early on Tuesday last week following the acceptance of the Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange Rate by the Central Bank of Nigeria. At the NAFEX window, the value of the naira had depreciated slightly to 412 naira to the dollar compared to 410 naira with which it opened the week's trading activities. Now, the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, at the end of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja early on Tuesday, confirmed that the change in the official exchange rate to NAFEX rate was necessitated by the fact that government transactions were no longer consummated using the official exchange rate. Mr. Emefiele also notes that the transactions are rather benchmark against the NAFEX rate, reiterating that Nigeria still operates a managed float exchange rate regime. At the money market end, rates fell as system liquidity also closed at 486.5 billion naira. Well, joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss this and its impact on business transaction volumes, I have Opeyemi Aro, the head of finance Sigmac Technologies. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
Thank you very much.
It's now quite a spiral we've seen in terms of the trading pattern of the naira now, but we've also seen engagement from the Central Bank of Nigeria in trying to ensure we have liquidity injection in the forex market. We're also looking at unification of rates as well. How do you think this would also help swing the pendulum towards the right direction?
Okay, so I know the Central Bank has been doing a lot lately, trying to position the economy of the company, especially as it relates to easy access to dollar. But what we've witnessed so far, I mean, the latest information is about this NAFEX, being the official rate now in Nigeria. But we should also bear in mind that this is just in conformity to those conditionalities of securing the disbursement of the loans from World Bank and IMF. Just recently, World Bank, granted us a 1.5 billion dollar, budget support fund. And the IMF also gave us a 3.4, but the disbursement is subject to conditionality where they need to, look into the reform of the multiplicity of the exchange rate we have currently in Nigeria. And hopefully when those funds are disbursed, I mean, they've shown interest, right? They've shown their interest to, tidy up the multiplicity of those exchange rates. So it means that those bodies, IMF, World Bank can actually, go ahead with the disbursement since those conditions are now being met, meaning we have more dollars right in play for CBN to play around.
And our forex market regime too was one of the concerns for the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. But at this point in time now, the value of the naira in hand does not weigh as much because you're taking 1,000 naira, for example, what you had in the market barely a month ago does not translate to the same volume you have today. Now, looking at the impact on business transaction volumes, businesses are suffering.
Yes.
We don't necessarily have enough waivers to be able to counter the shocks that have come due to the COVID-19 and other macroeconomic indicators. Inflation is also still relatively high, double digit at 10.12 as we speak currently now. How do you think we can begin to cushion the impact on the economy, understanding that we still have not necessarily put in enough buffer in terms of spreading our revenue base, in terms of foreign exchange inflows?
Yeah.
But the government is also in a tight situation. It's difficult for every government.
Yeah.
How do we invest stronger?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I asked myself a question there. What would the government of Nigeria will have done, right? Because internally, we know we run a budget deficit. We know there's absolutely no way those deficits can be funded from, our internal revenue generation of revenue. And the option they've explored, of course, is to secure some external debts, which they've achieved some success in those areas. And like I said earlier, the constitutionality I mentioned for the disbursement of those loans, CBN is also trying their bit to ensure they meet them so that they can bring in those funds. What is required is for government to spend, right? If the government channel those funds into, addressing those infrastructure deficits of the country. I mean, a lot of people will be engaged. There will be employment. There will be, start seeing the ripple effect of how
Nigerians don't have a problem with government spending. It's actually the areas of spending, because at the end of the day now we have conversations around spurring up growth in manufacturing output, looking at agriculture, the services sector, and much more. Tilting away from the fixation of oil, because as we speak right now, even the month of January, the start of the year, we did not produce one single barrel of oil. So that also brings to bear the question of expanding our non-oil revenue base, the activities that go on there, export within that regard. How do you think we can aggressively do that with very heavy debt burdens?
Okay, so there's got to be more drive in the diversification of the economy, but what is even more critical now are some endogenous factors that are springing up of late. We have seen several insecurity issues around the country, and the effect of this is that it has ripple effect on the productivity, right, which in turn affect the export position of the country. Of course, another negative effect on the foreign exchange value of naira, because you are earning lower than you should earn. So these are the areas that the government needs to deeply look into urgently, and then you can now start talking about the various reforms, the various policies you have for the diversification of the economy. See, insecurity is a key area to tidy up.
Let's play pundit now. Do you think we're going to see the naira bounce back a little stronger as the economy is gradually recovering? We've seen a gradual recovery pattern in terms of our GDP growth. Inflation is also reversing the tide.
So on the NAFEX, the closest we have to what we can call a market driven by demand and supply is that NAFEX window. Okay, so the other area is the BDC, which has been we've witnessed a lot of arbitrary profits going on in the area. I mean, as of yesterday, the parallel market ended with 498 naira per dollar, which is ridiculous. Okay, so those are the areas that CBN also need to tighten up, and also the other factors to also look into, right, is to ensure that the government actually, like I said earlier, move into using those money they are getting now for productive infrastructural projects.
What figure would you peg for the end of the week we'll see the naira dropping to?
It will be highly preposterous actually to pick a figure, because if
anything can happen,
if those factors are not looked into, we'll be deceiving ourselves picking a figure actually.
So would you think that we have to silence the noise of those who are saying speculations that possibly the naira will reach well over 500 naira, the dollar will reach well over 500 naira on the exchange market?
The effect of this also stem from the panic buys, okay, especially as witnessed in the parallel market. So I think the media still has a lot to do with this.
I ask this because silencing the noise of speculators is one of the biggest issues the Central Bank of Nigeria, Bureau de Change operators have also have to deal with. But they're also in the market, and not much has been done.
So I believe the Central Bank has an end-to-end policy managing the BDC activities, and the enforcement of those policies is what is required to be sure that those guys are actually doing what they are required and set up to do.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what will be playing out in the currency market, and hopefully we see the naira bounce back a little stronger as the economy gradually recovers. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show this morning. Opeyemi Ari, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.